Welcome to CX Exchange Success Hour. We're so excited to have you here today. Today's topic is how to create AI champions with an innovative adoption program. It is led by Mikayla LaRosa and myself, Jan Young. And today is March 11th, 2025. So we are excited to show whether you are in an AI first company and you're trying to get your customers to adopt the products so that they, won't churn and they'll expand. Or if you're in a traditional SaaS company and you have AI features that your customers haven't been using, that's also a challenge for you, right? Because if they're not using your AI features, then chances are they're not going to get the benefit and work as efficiently as they could. And then they'll start to think, oh, maybe the grass is greener someplace else. And then they leave you and they're not even using your AI features. So it's a challenge, right? So want to be sure that everybody sees this. Let me go ahead, stop sharing for 1 second so we can see Mikayla. Mikayla, go ahead, introduce yourself. I've known you a long time, but not everybody else here has. So
Yeah,
let's be sure to share kind of what your background is and what you're doing at Airtable and all these good things.
yeah. Thank you, Jan, and thank you everyone for hanging out, talking about this today. I am so excited to be here to teach back a little bit. So I lead up our AI programs at Airtable. So I sit within our customer success, marketing sort of side of house. I'm actually not on the product org. I am supporting our customers to help them adopt through scaled programming. And so as we all know, AI is moving fast, and regardless of where sort of that sits in your tech stack, it requires a new way of adopting and developing programming and enablement for customers. And so, really excited today to share the sort of playbook, the recipe, if you will, of a program we ran late last year and saw some incredible results. And as the title speaks to for our today's talk, it's about AI champions. So really focusing on the who and how we supported these specific customers to drive durable adoption. How did we get them engaged with their own problems and doing that at scale? So just a little bit about my journey. I've been with Airtable for 8 years. I joined the company when it was about 40 people, so very, very early days. Scaled up with the organization over the last 8 years and had the opportunity in that time to support all facets of the customer sort of engagement. Day one, answering support tickets, one-to-one engagements, hosting hundreds of webinars, and now am leading up this sort of new programming where we're really developing different ways to engage and help specifically around AI adoption. And if you're not familiar with Airtable, it's a tool that businesses use to build systems, and there's some AI elements inside of it. You can build faster with AI. You can also build actual components that are AI powered inside of Airtable. So knowing what Airtable is isn't totally contingent on getting value out of this session. Of course, if you're interested, of course, reach out to me, connect on LinkedIn. But this is more so meant to be the sort of recipe or playbook of how we ran a strategy, a go-to-market at scale cohort program. So yeah, happy to jump in. I know we have a few slides, Jan, but
Yep.
that's the high level
All right.
as we
And
jump into this.
and I will share it here. And if Kirti, if you can pick up all of these links here to share periodically as well. But the slides that we're going to go through, you will have access to them here. You just make a copy of them or download them, and you'll have access to them too. But let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll dig in. And am I? Oh, good. You can see it. Excellent.
Yep.
Everyone can see it? Great.
Yeah, I think going into share mode maybe, or unless you want to, I
I
think we still see
might
your
be
browser.
able to do that.
I think just selecting slideshow should
Yeah,
do
I
it.
just we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see about it because then I have
There we
okay.
go.
All right.
Awesome.
And then I'm just gonna put that, oops. So unfortunately, this Fathom thing's there. Okay, good. Um, Excellent. So let's go ahead and jump in.
Yep.
Um, and talk about the what and the why. And I thought that it was really fantastic to see that you had this 4 week. It was, while it was a cohort-based program, it was also something that was a little bit of sort of self-service, as well as you had office hours and you were connected in um, and helping them along as well, right? So maybe
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
describe kind of what you were doing here.
Yeah, exactly. So this was time bound and cohort based. So we had exactly 4 weeks to run this engagement where we offered curriculum over the course of those 4 weeks, and we did this at scale where we had about 40 operators, and by that I just mean folks within their businesses that are building and developing solutions in Airtable. So the mission or the goal for the full program by the end was to have someone actually develop and deploy a solution that has AI enabled in it. And that's that champion, right? That's cultivating that individual who's actually gotten value from using the tech and seeing that adopted in their team. So just to give some a framing of the size of this, the scope of this, it was a pretty there was a ton of interest in the program. So we had 400 applications, but we actually selected only 40 individuals across 40 different businesses. So it's a pretty rigorous selection process, and I'll actually talk about that towards the end of this slide. But there was a reason for that. That being pretty rigorous there. We represented across segments, industries. So we were really testing. This was the pilot version of this program. So we didn't want to segment down or have a specific industry, maybe just focus on marketing. It was all types of solutions. So that did create a little bit, we had to, again, zoom out doing this at scale. But again, to your point, Jan, this is what I sort of call done with you or guided DIY. It's not white glove where we're making content bespoke to every single individual company, but it's also not an academy or a scaled engagement where they're totally on their own. So our team was engaging with them throughout. And in the next slide, you'll see sort of exactly what went into that. The
Do we
other
want to go
thing
to the next slide? Or are you
Oh,
talking about
I
why
want to talk
next?
about the pain a little bit because that I think is what unified and brought people through the program. Um, Regardless of industry segment, there was a lot of similar challenges that we saw around deployment. So these individuals at their organizations, 80% of them said dedicated time was the biggest challenge for them, and so offering a clear curriculum, offering a weekly milestone was a solution for exactly that. Um, it doesn't add more time to the day, but it does at least time box the time with our team. And so we did see some success there in just giving them structure. The second is they're the solo builder in their org. So this is a moment to really unify and say, hey, you're in this with me. You have similar challenges. Oftentimes they're sort of solutioning in a silo. And so having others that are going through similar challenges creates a really strong sense of community. And then finally here, 100% had clearly scoped projects. So that's really where that 10% selection came in. When they applied for the program, we were extremely selective in terms of the projects that they had ideas to stand up, and they needed to be ready to go on day zero, or day one, I should say, so that they can actually deliver and get results in the 4 weeks. So the altitude, the complexity of that project was really what mattered. And so again, and I'll show some examples on our
Yeah.
results slide, but that was definitely key for the success of the program.
And just before we go to the next slide, I just want to set this up a little bit. So when you think about why, I mean, this is kind of what we're talking about with the program and what types of projects and what type of people were in the program. But another
Hmm.
thing that really you want to say or sort of consider is that Airtable had a traditional product and has loads and loads, I mean, thousands of customers using the traditional product, and then they built an AI native product, and yet you need those customers to move over to the new product, right? And so this here then was not only a fantastic opportunity to bring on 40 people to actually then use it, but then at the end, you've got case studies and advocates
Mhm.
who you can then highlight as well, right? And so when you think about like all of the advantages of doing a program like this, it helps your
Yeah.
customers adopt, but it's also helping you to then get more people engaged and using it. So that's why I thought it would be such a great thing to share with folks. So going on to the next slide then, can people see the title here? Because I've got a lot of stuff on the screen.
Yeah.
Oops,
No, uh
going
yeah, I
back.
think
Okay,
just one back.
okay,
Yeah, so this is the
good.
how. And so again, if you were to do this, on your team, these would be the 4 weeks. And I actually think this is kind of a universal product development where you are sort of developing an MVP in week one, building that prototype, and then bringing that back to the team that would actually use it. Gathering feedback, and then iterating on that using AI in week three, and then finally in week four, launching that back to your team. So I do want to emphasize the main takeaway here is the by design, the balance of human and AI collaboration. So we used AI in weeks 1 and 3 to speed up the build. And then in weeks 2 and 4, we're bringing our stakeholders, the end users, the people that are actually going to use this, um, you know, into the conversation, because part of that, adoption is not only the individual who's building it, but also, is this actually going to be used by the team? And so this is all layered on top of what we called office hours. These were just open format, jump on a call with our team. We had our what we call our base optimization specialists. A base is sort of an artifact in Airtable, but um, they're the experts in the product. So you could ask any question, and then also our private community. So there was just that was sort of the foundation for the program as well.
And then you had the private community was like on Slack or something, or
The
where
private
was it?
community was in one of our skill jar sort of user group
Uh-huh.
communities.
Where
And
you
oh,
have all of your community to
yep,
begin with. So it's just
yep.
another channel where the participants were able
And
to share and
yeah,
ask questions.
yep. And only those in the program had access to that user group. But we
Mhm.
also do have, public user groups as well, but sort of using
Okay,
that as a surface to post, to share, ask questions, that type of thing.
got it. And then these two sessions were more focused on the tool, and then week one and week three, and week two and week four were more focused on sort of the feedback and the iteration, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so we actually tapped internal experts at Airtable, depending on the team. So we had our change management. We have someone who focuses exclusively on change management at Airtable. So she actually led sort of a talk and an interactive session on week 4 to help these individual builders, these operators, actually deploy this and equip them with templates, tools, resources to bring it back to their team. So
Got
um,
it.
we really tried to enable at every step and balance the AI and the human, um, sort of a change management of it. And that's actually, I think, where a lot of these deployments get stuck.
Got it. Great. And so then the results.
Yes, the results. These are some exciting stats, and that I'll start on the far left here. So driving adoption, or driving durable AI adoption. So during the program, we saw a 24x of AI activity compared to a control group. So basically, we just looked at a sort of lookalike audience of those that has similar sort of profile of those in the program and compared that. And so basically this tells us they're using AI a lot more because they're in the program. What I am most excited about from a adoption long-term standpoint is this group remained 8 times more active with AI activity 10 weeks after the program. So it's when once we'd actually walked away, are they still taking action? Are they still sort of building in the tool? So um, really, really exciting there. We saw 21 deployments. So you probably saw we had about 40 at the beginning. So about half of those that joined ended up shipping a solution. And I think the major learning here was the audience. So we had really large segment customers. We had Walmart in there. We also had really small, like solopreneur. And what we found is they weren't quite the right fit for different reasons. Large enterprises are very, very complicated. They have longer cycles in terms of rolling out solutions. And solopreneurs are extremely, extremely busy. So just the sweet spot for this program is around sort of small to medium-sized businesses where they have someone who's dedicated, who's in their title. It's an operations type role, so that they have the skill, the will, they can influence and actually build these solutions. We also and then amplified these stories. So around 20,000 social impressions on LinkedIn and Instagram as well.
Right.
And just sharing some examples here. So we had a manufacturer actually build a AI tool that resolves stakeholder feedback. So they had different teams sharing feedback, and the AI would look at both of the feedback and say, hey, there's actually misalignment here, and it helped them move their reviews faster. Another example was a healthcare staffing company that needed to keep all their nurses in compliance. So they used Airtable and AI to have a real-time compliance hub to make sure that all their nurses, were good to work. So completely different systems, very, very, very different, but still move through those same 4 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah,
And so your
and
key
so what?
learnings?
Yeah, key learnings. Again, and this may have come through in what I was speaking to before, but making this the right fit for our ideal audience. Again, right in that sort of small to medium sized business where that person who is that operator who can both build and influence in the business. And again, that might be right for Airtable if you're thinking for your own tool. Maybe it's at a different altitude, but again, really adopting this program
Great.
to that. The second is around the experience for builders. We want to reward and sort of support those that are engaging. So offering more one-to-one calls with them later on in the program when they're getting into the final phases. We saw that a lot of folks needed a little bit more help at the end, and sort of offering that as a carrot or progression-based support would be a nice give-get. And then telling these stories even more. I think that what you talked about earlier, Jan, like this is the flywheel. This is, hey, like we
Mhm.
actually saw solutions, and it's coming from Airtable. It's one thing, but I think even more powerful when another company is sort of seeing those results. So this just becomes more, a really compelling storytelling tool
Right. And so then
and
what you
vehicle.
might do then, if you want to get more of your enterprise customers to move over and use the AI tool, you might develop a different type of program for
Yeah.
them, a different way of working with them, as well as if you wanted more of, like, if you had a big group of, say, solopreneurs or whatever, in whatever group that wasn't able to do it in this 4 week period, you might create more of a self-help version or something like that that they can
Oh
do
yeah.
sort of on demand or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's exactly the type of, like, you could imagine doubling the length of the program or just having it be for one really large customer. I mean, there's so
mhm,
much, the essential pieces and the sequences
yeah,
there. It's just
mhm,
scaling it up or down depending on the
right,
needs of your customer
got
base.
it. And so now we've got some breakout session questions, but before we do that, I just want to check in with folks and see if there's any questions you want to ask before we go to breakout groups. We went over this a little quickly, but wanted to be sure we got through everything. Any thoughts or questions coming up for folks? Chaz, you're off mute. Maybe you have a thought, or was that by mistake? You
Can you
like,
hear me now?
off. Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. Um, Hi everyone. Yeah, I had a quick thought and question that I'd
Hmm.
be curious to hear. Um, One of the things I was making a note of as you was going through that. First of all, program sound amazing. Good job on that. Like that seems
Yeah.
like a great user group concept. And thank you for sharing it. Really like awesome. My question is, whenever I was looking at the blockers or challenges that everyone experienced, And the thing that really resonated with me was like the no dedicated time. Because I think that's how everyone's feeling. There's a big push and like everyone needs to get caught up or like learn how to do this or do that. And but there's no incentive, or there's like a disincentive to spend time on it because there's no time allocated. Generally, it's like you do it during your off time. How did the conversation go? Or was there anything that came out of that conversations about people finding time or finding ways to get time in their day to day in their roles, or was it mostly off
Yeah,
the off?
it was a challenge for sure through the program, and I actually think when we do it again, another thing that we would share is like having them block out calendar time for the program, uh, for that window that we're focused, so that they also have that time to build and it's carved out. I think that would increase the success. And it also needs to be a compelling enough and painful enough problem that they are willing to spend the time. So if it's not compelling enough, then it's actually not, you know, kind of, we're not going to see that engagement. So I think it's one, validating and picking a painful enough problem, and then also to being really clear on the expectation, because it is, and this is where the review was also really important, because we didn't want to, um, some people really just went for the moon on like, I want to redo our entire CRM. And that's just not going to be feasible within 4 weeks. So we had to really pick scope solutions that would build that momentum and help someone feel like, okay, I can just move forward just a little bit. And that's where the
Well,
4 week, yeah, yeah.
and redoing the CRM may not be the best first project either, right? Like if you're going to do a first project, then like you want to wouldn't you want it to be something like you can do a small learning and have a small win with first?
It's a really great question. And I think set expectation setting on how much time each week you want to dedicate to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jan, sorry, I think you cut off.
No. I wasn't trying to cut off. I was just said, uh-huh.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, okay. No, you were saying something about the CRM, but hopefully that
Oh,
that answered the question.
yeah. No, you did. Let's see. Amy, is this your comment in the chat? Do you want to come off mute and share that?
Yeah, sure. So I was just actually, agreeing there with Mikayla about what's really helpful is having an opportunity to, whether it's a discovery session or some specific questions to be able to ask to really understand like what is the pain point, like why is the customer interested in AI in the very beginning, and what are the problems that they're trying to solve, but also having some opportunities for that creative, just get the juices going before you just like hand them the tools to build, like really showing them what some others are doing. And I was wondering how you did that, Mikayla. How did you help them get their creative juices going?
I mean, we actually developed, and I'll share this in the chat. We have these AI plays, where there's some great examples of sort of pre-built. Let me pull
Mm-hmm.
this up here. Pre-built solutions, but what I found is that these individuals were often solving many different problems. So around week 3, week 4, not only were they were solving the problem that they came in and they were really focused, but then by week 3, week 4, they're like, I'm on to the next thing. I'm already starting to solution there. But here, let me drop this AI plays. So this is sort of even before we have tons of case studies, this gives them really tangible examples of ways that they could build and solution in Airtable with AI, in sort of scoped ways. So the altitude there is like, how might you take, create images and copy for a product catalog? That might spark some ideas of some other imagery you need to create. And I find that often AI capabilities are very modular. Maybe that's just an Airtable. That might not be true for all tools, but with Airtable, there's just so many different ways that you could layer in AI, both building with it as well as just generating an image that could be interesting in so many different ways, or just generating copy. So it does sort of scoping it down and being really focused with these
And that was
solutions is
something
super
that
helpful.
was that something you had available
Yes.
already?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. We
you
had
already,
this available.
yeah, so that was something that was developed already on a web page because they want people to be able to imagine what they can do with Airtable because Airtable is so flexible, but it was something that they
Hmm.
already sort of had built out. So you were able to use that and then
Yep.
suggest which types of plays might be something that could be
Yep.
achieved in that 4-week period.
The other, yep, and actually as going through this, the other thing that we did, again, because what's gold here is making it as relevant as possible to their problem. So what we, and I think Jan, you were talking about this before, but we recently launched Omni in Airtable. And Omni basically is an AI builder that helps you build faster. And so we gave every single participant, every builder, a prompt that created a prototype for them based on what they said they wanted. So when they walked in the door, we handed them that prompt and they generated with Omni their V1, like V0 of their base, if you've, or of their application. And that gives them something real to sort of react to. Um,
Yes.
so it was using AI to actually make it really, really personalized, but also at scale. Because I wouldn't be able to build 40 different unique bases, but I can generate a prompt based on all of their applications. So that's also why the application was so important because it gave us so much rich context of what they cared about.
And so if you're going to do a program like this, you would want to create it in a way that, is helping your customer base use the AI features or product that you're trying to get them to adopt. So you would modify it, but something like this type of structure might be useful. Now, if you have a really technically complex product, you might want to think about, extending, the time or something like that. That's something where you would want to gauge that and think about it. This is not necessarily cookie cutter, but it is designed to give you an idea of like how they designed it and what they learned from it. Eric, you also had a question over in the chat. Do you want to come off mute?
Yeah. Hey, Michaela, thanks so much for sharing. Super
Yeah.
insightful. Um, Basically, what I was kind of curious about is just like how the customers have kind of limited bandwidth, how did
Yeah.
you get your internal teams? Like, I think you mentioned you had like some SMEs or some technical folks who could pitch in and
Yeah.
help. How did you get, those folks buy in or, top cover for them? Because that's
Yeah.
always a challenge as well.
Yeah, it definitely was a resourcing challenge, but I'd say we started um, putting feelers out in terms of and putting people in positions where their expertise, their area of genius is already, we are able to highlight that. Um, so it doesn't create much time to ramp them up in that. By that I mean, for our change management sort of lead, we had her lead on change management, so it's fitting those. We had experts every week. I believe like product development, we had our AI product come in, a PM come in and support there. So we matched expertise to those sessions, and people are generally pretty interested. And just like, if we say, hey, it's going to be about an hour, we'll develop the slides for you. We sort of have a few back and forth with them. That it usually we had some great success with that. The other part RSC is technical staff. So we time boxed this. We said, we had and resource. We have great partnership with on our support side. We do have a base optimization team where they do rapid one-to-one type calls where folks can jump in. And I think it's called Ask an Expert. And so they're usually just talking one-to-one. This is exactly the same format. It's just where it's sort of open style. It would be like this. I might be the expert, and then everyone's just sort of peppering with questions. We tried to theme those rooms so that, if the week was on feedback, we had folks join the room focused on feedback. So we gave our base optimization specialists as much information and context and as low lift as possible. They just needed to show up for that hour. There wasn't any prep required, and they're already experts in the product. So pitching it in that way and helping, because they're also interested in other ways that they can scale their engagements. And so it really was a team effort. But I think that the thing I would recommend is just being as realistic as possible of how much of an investment this is, and also what learnings they could also gain from it.
Well, thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to breakout rooms for we can go for 10 minutes. I'll make the rooms small. That way you guys can connect with each other, meet each other. It's always helpful if you're, sharing ideas or asking questions to be able to do that. I know that some people can't go to breakout rooms, so you can hang out here with me. And then just remember that over in the Slack channel, we have the AI and CS channel. Be sure to look for that and continue the conversation there. And just remember, it's always easier if you're working on this with a buddy, even if you are both working on your own solo projects. It's always helpful to trade ideas, share ideas, whether you're doing that in Slack or getting together with people in person or on Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the breakout room for 10 minutes. If you can, be sure to at least do some quick round of introductions and then chat a little bit. All right, how did it go? What kinds of ideas and thoughts came up in your group? So nice to see you, Carlos. It's been a long, long time. I'd really like to see you here. It's great.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, absolutely. So what kinds of things did you guys discuss? Anything interesting?
Yeah, actually, one shout out, right, in our team, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name. When it came to change management, and I agree with him, there's a framework called ADKAR, ADKAR.
Oh, sure,
That
Adkar.
there you are, Shaiman. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he brought up about that's a good framework to get familiar with when you're looking at change management. So I think that was a good call out.
Another
Um,
favorite when it comes to change management is Britt Andreatta. And she has a relatively short, small book, and it's actually on neuroscience as it applies to business. But and it's Wired to Resist is the one on change management. And that sounds like, oh God, neuroscience, what? But it's actually she writes it for business, and it's really easy read and really interesting read. So and it's all connecting in our resistance to change. But yeah, and ADKAR is also, and there's another one that starts with P, right? If anybody wants to put that in the chat.
yeah,
But
I was gonna say if you could throw that in the chat, that'd be great.
yeah. Yeah, because it's really about change leadership here, right? And there's so much fear that can be attached to all of this change that's going on. What other topics came up for folks as you were out in your groups? Thank you, Philip, for sharing the name in the book in the um
Discovery,
discovery.
executive discovery and education, making sure that folks are understanding AI behind, like beyond the hype, and really, um, as a team, understanding the end goal so we can create an effective solution and not just have an enormous tech stack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Um,
One of the
and is it,
things that
yeah.
um, Ryan and I were in a meeting together, and one of the things that he had talked about, which I thought was really smart, was getting those initial requirements up front, as what Mikayla showed in her slides and her approach on trying to find the people that are going to be really sort of committed, but then also trying as part of that, maybe the sign up process or the application process for signing up for the effort, to also capture how much time that they would expect to be able to spend each week on this particular effort.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it Simon, Shimon?
Shimon.
Shimon? Okay, great. Well, you're not on mute, so you're a candidate for speaking.
Aha. Okay. No, it was
Secret.
really great connecting with Carlos, Ramona, really speaking about their experiences in terms of implementing processes within their organization. Apparently, there's no one route into this. Carlos talking about mostly mapping a journey and trying to figure out how to, adjusting cost versus what's needed, what the pain is. It's not just pain, but also kind of figuring out what people are willing to invest into this. So what struck me is that there are several ways to get there. And it's all about experimenting and bringing this is why I brought also AdCar to this conversation, because I think the awareness and kind of bringing people together in different ways, figuring out how to get people involved is the key here. And then people start to identify where they want to work together. And I think this resistance that is automatic that I see in some organizations is kind of lowered when you go that way. So just remember, and I think also very good points, Mikayla. I think your experience is I just saved it, so I can share it. It's amazing. Thank you for your experience. But again, I think it's all about experimenting, looking at how to build this or lowering this resistance in cooperation first, and then you'll get miracles happening.
Yep. Any other closing thoughts, Mikayla?
Yeah, I mean, that I really appreciate the time, and I love that take, Shimon. I agree. I think there's so much sort of tech forward language, bringing people together, something really magic can happen. And again, it's grounded in the pain and bringing collaboration and connection through that. I think there's just a lot of fear and uncertainty in the space. And so fostering an environment that folks can move forward and solve something unique to them, but also together, is really powerful. So my LinkedIn is open. Would love to, stay connected with folks. Thank you so much. I do have to hop, but this has been incredible. Thank you.
Yeah. And just on that note, it might be ways in which you're using it uniquely, but that's why coming together in a community and sharing experiences and challenges is so important, because it can be hard to do on your own. But there's a lot of things from your past experience that will apply, and it's all about kind of going with change and working with change right now. There's a lot changing, but we can help each other through this. Ramona, you were going to come off mute. Was there anything you were going to say or something you were going to share?
I was in the same session as Carlos and Shimon, so that was there were some great takeaways there. It was very, very useful to see how we can frame this as a sense of urgency, but also map it with how organizations embrace change and how that resistance to change can be mapped to something that is meaningful to them.
Great.
And that's all about the humanizing the AI with AI.
Excellent. Yep, absolutely. Next month. Thank you so much. Next month, April, the second Tuesday of April, we're going to be back at 9 a.m. And we're Nathan Spear, who's here today. He's going to be showing us, it's going to be more workshop style. We're actually going to be building something. He's going to be showing us how he built his interactive resume and sort of profile using an AI tool. And it's a kind of thing that anyone can do. And so we really want to show you that it's something that anyone and everyone can do. So it's going to be a little more workshop style, but everyone should be able to come out with something. All right. Ready for that? All right. We'll see you in the AI and CS channel in between time. And be sure to sign up via Luma, and we'll be updating that soon. All right. Excellent. So great to see everybody.
Super helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Success Hour, formerly known as CS Office Hours. We regularly put out new content, so to be the first to know, like this episode, tap that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and we look forward to seeing you soon.